Welcome to the July 24th, 2018 Town Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Andy Schaefer.
Here.
Andy Key.
Here.
Tyson Hackey.
Here.
Trey Roby.
Here.
Matt Hilton.
Here.
Luke Dare.
Here.
Rich Garner.
Here. Tyson, would you mind giving us the invocation, please?
Yes. Our dearest kind Heavenly Father, we're so very grateful for all that Thou hast done for us, and we're grateful for the opportunities that we have. Heavenly Father, we ask Thee to bless us, that we can keep in mind the town and how we can better serve the town. We ask Thee to watch over us, and we're also very grateful for all those who have sacrificed and served in our military. We ask Thee to bless them and watch over them. We love Thee and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Yeah. Great. Would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 5, meeting of the minutes. Discussion and action to approve the minutes from the June 26, 2018 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 26, 2018 meeting.
Second.
Andy Key made the motion, second by Rich Garner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Abstain.
Tyson abstained. Motion carries. Petitions and public input. If you guys would come up and state your names to the board and what you guys would like to talk to.
I'm Cassidy, and this is Delia, and I'm this year's Stuco co-president, and she's my secretary. And we were wondering, we're going to have our back-to-school dance on August 16th, so the Thursday we come back to school. And we were hoping for 8:30 to 11, but we have it planned for the park gazebo, and we were wondering if noise would be a problem.
Not at my house.
No?
Chief?
When's curfew?
What's that?
Do we have, when's the noise? We have a noise curfew. What time does it start at?
Thursday, anytime. Anytime somebody interferes with your space, airspace, basically, there's not a set time.
Oh, gotcha.
What could be during the day, this is annoying, would be at night. Most of the time, it occurs at night because that's when we all sleep.
Were you going to do it at the big gazebo, Cass?
Mm-hmm.
But I think they actually tell the surrounding people in that area that this is what we're doing, this is how it's going to go. People will allow it, be so.
Okay, perfect. We'll have 4 sponsors there and a teacher as DJ, so
Okay.
it'll be well contained.
I would just keep the PD involved with what's going on, and I bet they will help you out wherever needed
Perfect.
in order to.
We do help notify the members of the surrounding area, whatever, we'll do that for you too. So.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Anybody else want to address the council?
Hi, I'm Brittany Campos, and I was just wondering about recycling. I'm sure this has been covered before, but is there a reason why Rangeley isn't able to have recycling? I know Meeker has it, and we can, take our stuff, but that's kind of a long drive for me. I'm being lazy, I guess, but is there any reason in particular, or is it just someone hasn't done it, or sorry?
Well, it's something we took up a few years ago. Council at that time chose not to participate. But if we want to look at it again, we can take a look at where we would place those and what the cost, if any, would be.
You're talking about aluminum, paper,
Yeah.
and plastics?
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll come in and provide the receptacles to pick it up if we help do some maintenance on that. A lot of times there's dumping that happens with those. You got to be careful of. And they end up sorting the trash and that kind of thing. But kind of depends depends on where you put it, what kind of observation that we have on it.
What was the cost? Do you remember the cost? That was,
I don't. I'd have to go back, look at that. But it would have ended up, I think we would have ended up in Meeker primarily. I know that's where most of the region now is going.
Well, there should be some money in aluminum, right? So it might offset the expense.
Is that,
It was a,
is that a private company that's doing that, or in Meeker?
well, I know the town heavily subsidizes that project. And that was one of the concerns on this end. We would have had to subsidize to make it work. I don't know if that's still the same scenario or if things have changed since we looked at it last. But that's been 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe 6.
Would you be interested in finding out like what public interest is on that?
Yeah, I can do that.
See if there is enough? Okay, thank you.
anybody else want to address the council? Okay. Peter, is there changes to the agenda?
I don't think so.
Okay. We don't have any public hearings, committee and board meetings. The town council work session from June 28th. Does anybody want to bring anything up from that? We had a public safety committee meeting last night with police chief, his lieutenant, and head dispatcher. Does anybody want to talk anything about that or have any questions about that?
Is there anything of concern we should know about?
My take on it is there's some communication issues that that need to try to get resolved. And it's not so much internally, but if we can get some things worked out externally to try to maybe work together as a one, that we need to do it. And there's some things that we've talked about that we're going to try to work on. Peter, was there anything else? Or Tyson, you were there.
That I would agree with that. I think that they just working together would be the main goal that we talked about. So, and how we're going to try and accomplish that.
I think that's the primary topic.
Okay. Chief, did you want to add anything to it?
No, I think we're good with what you guys said. I think some more communication issues and so forth. And in the future, we'll make that get that accomplished and get that policy complete. And that's the be moving forward and making that happen. With communication with other individuals, they have working relationships.
The Lexipol, they did say that they were getting closer on it, the policies. There was a few complaints that have come in, and they're taking care of them. They're time stamped, and they've all come up with a number, so they are taking care of those as they come in. Peter's involved with all of them. But that was about the gist of that. Does anybody else from the council have any reports on any other subjects they'd like to bring forward?
So we had an AGNC meeting. I'll chime in on this one for a second. Last Wednesday, and we got some really interesting news. And basically, that was that the Secretary of the Interior is coming to Grand Junction to do a tour. They've organized a tour for him over there, and that was released Wednesday. Talked about Wednesday, I guess I should say, and then Friday they actually came out and announced they are going to be moving to BLM headquarters west. So, pretty awesome news. Doesn't mean it's going to happen or anything like that, but it means it's getting serious consideration. So.
Cool. That's awesome.
So, yeah, that's pretty much. There's a SEDS meeting for the Economic Development District coming up, and I'll have to get dates for you guys if anybody's interested in attending that. It's in the middle of the week. It's tough to get to, but if anybody is interested, get with me and I'll get you the dates.
Andy, did they talk about initiatives Y and Z on the gerrymandering?
No. Nope. We did not talk about that.
Do you have any
Updates?
issues with that? The gifting issue, has that gone away?
So, okay, I gotta think back here a little bit.
That was our last
Right.
discussion on that. I mean,
I believe it was. I believe that was addressed, and what the final. So they kind of all got together finally in the end and said, let's work together here. And what came out of that was they would be officers of the courts was coming to my mind, but that's not right. Basically, they'd be sanctioned under the state of Colorado, so the gifting laws would apply to them. Therefore, they couldn't receive gifts, anything like that. So that has been, they passed it through the House, and I believe it will be on the ballot. The House and Senate, sorry. It was Joint Resolution 1 and 3 or something like that, if I remember
I got
correctly.
Y and Z, but maybe it's something else.
Well, that would be the initiative, but the resolution that was passed through there was 1.
Okay.
I believe 1 and 3 was coming to mind. Might be 1 and 2, but yeah. So
So that might be something we have as a support letter or something along that line at the next meeting. We got Brad
McLeod.
McLeod asking if
Or-
we would do that,
Okay.
but I wasn't sure if they gotten through that gifting issue.
Yes, my understanding is yes. So they, Bernie Bersher, one of the old secretary, I think he's a Secretary of State. He came and talked to us a few meetings back, and that's what he had told us was they were basically officers of the state. They would be sanctioned under that. Like I said, there was some merging that went on and agreements that took place between the two, because there was 2 different parties working on it, and now they've kind of merged together to try to work that through each, working together and make it more successful, more likely to be successful. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we'll have that on the next agenda then in 2 weeks. Support letter for the gerrymandering, redistricting initiatives that are coming up. In addition to opposition to apparently Initiative 97 wanting to have 2,500-foot setbacks on rigs in the near schools and that sort of thing.
That would definitely impact us.
And another one that's really going to upset Boulder, I think, is Initiative 108, apparently. Requiring a loss of revenues for communities that want to pay in oil and gas. Boulder seems to be adamant that they want to do that. So we're in support of Initiative 108. At least I think we might be.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes 2 weeks from now.
Is that it, Andy?
Yep.
Council members, anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I have something regarding the rally last weekend. I don't know who may have participated or was involved in it in any kind of way, but I'm pretty sure that there was a substantial impact to our economy here in town, probably over that last week. I'd like to actually maybe see the numbers if possible, but I know we do some support, right? So we contribute, what all, Peter?
Yeah, we pay for the
Portalettes,
dumpsters and-
trash pickup.
Yeah.
Is there anything
We pick
additional?
up some periphery things. Some of the communication, the flyers and that sort of thing, we help get those out. We generally do quite a bit of the copying for the event. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I spent Saturday out at the Spectator area, right at the intersection of 113 and 116. And I met a lot of people. I thought it would be local people, which a good part of them were, but there were a lot of out-of-towners, people from Chicago, Nebraska, Texas, of course, Utah, Salt Lake. I think we would be well-served to have a bigger presence out there, for the town, as a hospitable, just a gesture, and try to sell it a little bit better to help promote these events, simply because, I think the impact is necessary to our survival almost at this point, So to me, I think it would, everybody pretty much brought their own drinks and, shade and all, but there's something we could probably do. Maybe a little hospitality tent cover, maybe give out water and a little pack of suntan lotion. I don't know. Just something that would extend our appreciation for their visit, to the town. Because like I said, I assumed that it was all local people that would be there, and I was really surprised how many of the people weren't from here. And I think if we made it a little more hospitable, there would be a bigger turnout, in the future, because they are committed to coming back, for a number of years. So I think we're in the future, we need to take advantage of that opportunity. So
I'd agree with that wholeheartedly and add a couple things. One would be, I think one of the things we can step in and immediately help with is the communication side of it, in the sense of getting out to our public what's going on, because there was a ton of confusion over the whole parade deal, the time of the parade, the time of the thing. I noticed you guys all showed up at what originally was the start time of the parade, and the main guy was like, "Oh no, it's not till 8:30ish." And we're like, okay. So that's one thing I definitely think we can help. And another, just adding to what you're saying is, well, I don't know if anybody else saw it, but one of the guys that was here was kind of the leader of the whole drivers group. He's one of the most well-renowned drivers. I think he was one from Chicago. He's native to Poland, actually, and they had him come up here and test this, and his comment on Facebook was along the lines of, this rivals where they do the World Finals, and we need to do everything we can to be back here. Having said that, that's something we really need to consider, that if they're going to continue looking to us to build their stuff up, we need to be making sure we're contributing.
Actually, maybe what we should do is reach out to the rally folks and see what we could do to help them out.
I agree.
Or even businesses in town to set up booths or something.
there's a number of things. I gave cards out to a number of people. I solicited their feedback, so I can, hopefully, I haven't received any emails yet. But, I want to make it a better experience for the spectators. The drivers are happy with what they're doing. There might be a few things that Rally America has to tweak for them, but for us, it's it's where we can impact the spectator experience. I think, like I said, we're missing an opportunity there.
But we did have a lot better turnout than we did the year before.
And also, just adding on to that, if you've talked to any of them, most of them are the same group that are coming up for the hill climb.
Yep.
So we can kind of use this quickly
By word of mouth, it gets around, and like I said, if we show hospitality to these people, there'll be more to come, and there's money to be made, with these venues.
In the motel.
There was some, and I know I'm kind of going on with it. There was some comments made that this only affects the local businessman, the restaurant owner, the motel owner, the store owner, the mechanic shops, the auto parts stores. But it affects all of us, because if we don't have these little boosts to their income, then last year we had 2 restaurants and a motel in business that are no longer here. So, moving forward, if we can't continue to keep these people in business, it's going to become harder and harder for people here. So, we got to do, we got to promote these things. So, enough said. I just wanted to air that, because, like I said, I was out there rubbing elbows with them people and listening to their comments.
I think if we get if there's something that you'd like to do for this hill climb race that we ought to do, then we ought to definitely talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. A hospitality tent with some minor, extension of our gratitude for their showing up.
Okay.
Oh, we also took care of the chemical toilets. All right.
Anybody else? Supervisor report. Jeff, you're on first.
That'd be good.
Tanglewood. I'll go ahead and tell you what's going on in what happened in June, and then I'll kind of update us where we're at on Tanglewood. In June, we laid the water main. It has been flushed and it's been tested. We got all the back T tests back. We will start services. Of course, this is June. We've installed mile per hour signs on the bike path. We continue to sweep streets. We mow ditches. We're cutting weeds. Vehicle and machinery maintenance, utility locates. We repaired 3 curb stops. We had Tanglewood milled. And then we dug and installed the water main and set the 2 fire hydrants. Backfilled and compacted our trenches. So now on Tanglewood, everything's been done except the services. We've got 13 of the 19 done. We have 6 more. 4 of them, I have to move mailboxes on each side of the road that are behind the mailboxes. We just got the okay where we can move them today. So probably Thursday we should be complete on services. Once services are done, I have to dig up the west end, cut and cap the old main and tie the new main into that valve. And then the water line will be done. Moon Lake's coming in as we speak. They was there yesterday, gone today to safety meetings. They'll be back in tomorrow, and then they're going to follow right up the north side of the road with their power line. Once they're done, we'll start prepping for curb gutter and sidewalk and building our road.
So the Kelly's done on her part?
Kelly's done. They just had some finish up work today. So the west end has been a nightmare. It's soft. We ran our I call it our missile. You guys might call it your pig or whatever, but we ran it 3 times out of the 5, and we've been stuck. We've ended up having to dig it out across the road, so that's slowing us down a little bit. Yesterday, I hit a power line, mismarked by Moon Lake, 4.5 foot. Come right up to the old curb stop. I mean, it was touching, and I hit it. It was all on Moon Lake. They fixed it. Getting ready to leave the end of the day, they hit their own line down in the east end. So the fiber's a joke. It can go from 4 foot to 2 inches. So we're dealing with a lot of that. So that's slowing us down a little bit. But by Thursday, services should be done.
When do you think we'll be able to start paving it again?
Well, we're set to be, right after Labor Day, we're set to start tidying up, roll testing the road. So kind of got a schedule, but it's hard to follow that schedule with big setback here and there. So
What do you think? September,
Middle
mid-September?
I'm just guessing.
Third week of September is what we got on the schedule for completion.
And if we're ahead of the game, we can hopefully get them here. But
Jeff, can I mention the cost here real quick?
yeah, go ahead.
So the grant, or the total project was $432,500. We had a $209,000 grant from DOLA. We offered to provide $165,000 in in-kind labor and equipment that we so far have provided proof of $128,000 of that $165,000. So we're about $40,000 shy of meeting our in-kind donation to the project, which I don't think we're going to have an issue with. We'll collect the $209,000, and we're going to have about about $60,000 in out-of-pocket costs from the reserves to cover the remainder of the project. So that's kind of where we're at today.
Sounds good. Anything else, Jeff? Very good. Thank you. Chief Wilczek?
Other than what we discussed last night, just for the other councilmen, we're partnering with Identigo, and that's the fingerprint people who've got the contract through Carl Buell's investigation. They will do all the fingerprinting for schools, for nurses, anybody that is required by DOLA to that Department of Local, DORA, regulatory agency, Department of Regulatory Agency. Okay, they regulate the teachers, all the fingerprints. That those people that are required to have fingerprints through the state, this company will do that. Okay, that takes a big burden off us because we still do it the old-fashioned way, and it interrupts when you're trying to get something done. People come in, we oblige them, we just do it, and we even do people from Dinosaur, so on and so forth. So these people, this organization will be coming in. I've sent them the photographs of our building, the ADA compliance with everything, restrooms all the way to the parking lot. And anyway, all they would require is basically internet service. And we have a server in the radio room, which is just a drop line into the commons area before you go into the PD is where they will be at. It's a secured place, and it'll be enough for them with what they're saying. So looking to see that happen. As we said, policy is nearly completed. We'll be review it one more time really quickly, and then be working with Lexpol to get that issued out. We had a power outage, and this was, I don't know who the generator's been there for years, and it went from propane to natural gas. Lieutenant and I, we get calls on Sundays. You know, we're in here trying to figure this. We don't have a clue. This has been something of concern over the years. And actually, there was a wire there, and we both said, "What's the wire?" I'm like, "I don't know." It was here when it was done when we opened it up. Well, when we plugged it in after an hour and a half later, the generator started. So my thing is that I think what the town needs, we as a government entity needs a better generator for the police department, and it's actually one for the whole entire building. So I just think that's something you guys should be considering during budget times. Other than that, we've been issuing quite a few of not quite a few, there has been some OHP citations being issued to some of the adults or kids. I've mentioned, and you guys have the new and or updates to the jail intake process in your packets. That you don't? You shake your head no?
No, it's in our packet.
Okay, I thought someone. But anyway, with this is going to cost us more money. Actually, we had a bill that I haven't seen yet, but we were supposed to get it from Meeker Hospital. It was supposed to come to us, and it was because an individual through the sheriff's office, but no longer works there, made a mistake, and we actually had to have an individual medically cleared before they went into the hospital or before they went into the jail. If this is a continuing process and you see the parameters of what we have to abide by now, this is going to cost us a considerable amount of money just to put somebody into jail that needs to go to jail. So anyway, that's just another issue that I'd like to see addressed when it comes budget time. And then, of course, talks with the dispatch center and so forth. Really quickly, from 100 to 600 hours is our lowest number of activities year to date. And Tuesday is the lowest call volume, and Sunday, Monday, and Saturdays are the highest call volume. So that's just, and that's just what it is right now. The next 6 months, it could be totally different. That's just the average of what it is right now. And then with the dispatch center, this was the discussion of the topic at the public safety meeting last night. We have an individual, Mercy McAllister, who's head of dispatch. She's a record. She's a training officer. She does the policy. She's a communication supervisor. She makes $41,777 for the town. Okay. With the SO, you have Mike Cook, who's head of dispatch, for $62,000. You have a rescue technician, which is $51,000. Okay. She makes less than either one of them. Does a job of two, and doesn't complain. When I like to point this out is when you see an individual, she excels. I've said she excels. She was on vacation for 2 weeks. She comes back in a matter of 2 days, has everything completed, disseminated, done. I mean, that is exceptional. The woman does her job very well. So I just point these things out because these people work really hard for the town, for you guys, and it shows when none of this stuff goes by the wayside and it gets done relatively quickly. For 2018 year to date, for misdemeanors, we've had 29. The sheriff's office had 5 for this area. Our traffic citations are 23. The sheriff's is 13. CSP is 9. CSP hardly exists in this community anymore except for seatbelt violations, which they'll be here, of course, during September Fest. Infractions. These are both basically the model traffic code between the sheriff's office and the police department. We've had 20. They've had 14. Felonies. We've had 14. They've had 11. The sheriff's office, Meeker PD's had 11, and the district attorney's had 2. Okay. And just for this, I mean, we're down to 4 officers. You guys are surely aware of that by now. Meeker has 6, including their chief. We have 4, including me. And the sheriff's office has 11, including the sheriff. So this is just a perspective of how we perform top notch, I think. And I want to commend Officer Hamlin, Senior Patrolman Hamlin. We had a sexual assault. It was done and over within 24 hours. We had 3 victims, 3 interviews, 4 interviews at River Bridge and Glenwood. Came back, did the warrant for the guy's arrest, and then after completion of the arrest, take the guy to Meeker, come back, do a search warrant for the party's house, and then the next day relay what we found to the Department of Homeland Security, because they're all electronic devices, and to have them examined in the Denver office for child pornography. So this was all done within 24 hours. One individual, exceptional, and our conviction rate on child sexual assault cases is 100%. So I'm just saying, these are the people that you have working for you. When you see them on the street, say good job, because they do an excellent job for every one of you guys, and they represent you very well. So I have nothing other than that. You guys got any questions for me? Thank you.
Any questions?
Chief? Are we looking to replace Officer Becker with
It'll be a lengthy process. I mean, he was the man who we thought was coming here to, said he wanted to work here, he wanted to live here. His father-in-law said, yeah, this is a great place, work for Vinny and Roy, and you'll love it. Well, when, what he makes, I mean, Patrolman Ty Hamlin makes $50,900. He's the highest paid officer. And detention sergeants, the sheriff makes $76,000. The undersheriff makes $83,000. The sergeants for the sheriff's office make $68,000, and their patrol officer making anywhere between $59,000 to $63,000.
Answer is yes, though, right?
That is with the SO, correct?
No, but the yes, you're trying to replace him.
Pardon?
The question was, are you going to replace him? And I'm
Oh
saying,
yes, but I'm just saying it's going to be a lengthy process.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, we have to.
Okay.
I mean, it's difficult working with 4 people. I mean, we have, everybody wants time off now, and all the vacation scheduled, and so there will be some hefty overtime coming down the road. I mean, we all pick up everybody else's slack, so everybody can have some quality time. So, I mean, I went for 1 week and came back, got my vacation short by a week. So, Lieutenant's off after this week, and he'll have about 10 days off. Then he's back. Hamlin's off, and So it's just we do what we have to make sure everybody gets their quality time off. So we need it. So
And they said last night that they're also going to work at replacing the dispatcher, the full-time dispatcher, along with a part-time person. That both of those are still into the budget from 2018 budget.
and this time we've actually really got some good quality applicants for dispatch too. Thank you, Mayor, for bringing that up. So that is all. Thank you.
And unfortunately, we're not the only ones experiencing quite a bit of turnover. I was talking to Anthony Mazzola the other day, and their dispatch is now down 2 or 3 that they're trying to hire. Of course, they have a continual churn in the officer ranks as well. I mean, they're always filling open positions at the SO office. So, yeah, the wage is a factor, but it doesn't completely solve the issue.
You want to go ahead, Peter?
Okay.
Following on your report.
My computer died at 5 o'clock today, so I didn't get to print my notes, so I'm going to kind of wing it here. And as far as I know, it's still down. Anyway, been working on an agreement with Chevron to assist with the ORC responsibilities. That's the principal operator that's in charge of the distribution system for their potable water system. They're looking to work with the town to help offset some of the costs associated with actually hiring an ORC individually, and we think we can accomplish that, but we're having to work through a few issues about the definition of their distribution system as what the state terms as consecutive versus integrated. And so that's kind of where we're at this point, getting to the bottom line on that item. But we would come back to the council with a discussion on the agreement once we get closer to what the terms of that agreement should look like. And at that point, the utilities operators then would, if we engage in that agreement, we would provide testing that would be pass-through services back to Chevron on their water system to determine the potability, so their employees can get to a point where they consider the water drinkable and sanitary. So we spent quite a bit of time on that in the last few days. Better City closeout. Talked to Caitlin and I had a conference call with Kelby yesterday and talked about the final closeout of the contract at the end of this month and some of the things that we wanted from Better City that are with regard to data that they have. And of course the data is always available, but there's certain things that we'd like to get copies of. We can always access some of their database, which is available to us, but we'll have virtually copies of everything, like the contacts that they've made for MROs and the contacts that they've made to call centers. They've got 115 call centers that they called. They have 400 MROs that they made phone calls to. And, we may need that information at some point in the future. Active conversations that they're having with avionics specialists in Fort Collins. That was kind of emerging at one point, and so we'd like to kind of have the final discussions that they're having with those folks. And then we'll look at if we utilize their services again, it'll be kind of on an hourly rate based on whatever their fee schedule is if we determine that we need their services in the future, unless council determines they want to do a particular feasibility for something in the future. We talked about the Housing Authority audit coming up. Working on a Synergy contract. We've got 2 versions of the contract closeout with Synergy for the RDA. Spent considerable time on that. One of One of the options for closeout is a cash payout or a acquisition of a property and then management for another 3 years through the RDA. Another option might be to consider a penalty interest fee for the next 3 years and increase the management fees. So that's something the RDA is working through. They'll have responsibility for the closeout of that contract, but we're working on 2 versions of that contract at this point. I think I covered a couple of the items. 2 or 3 of the items actually already, so unless you have any questions on any particular item, I think that's my report for tonight.
Any questions for Peter? Moving on, old business, the IGA with the county. We talked about that in our work session tonight, and it sounds like that's moving forward in a good direction. So that's good to know on that. New business, discussion and action to approve the June 2018 check register.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 2018 check register.
Second.
Motion by Andy Keys, second by Matt Belgren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, discussion and action to approve the June 2018 financial summary.
I make a motion to approve the June 2018 financial summary.
Second.
Motion made by Matt, second by Rich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, discussion action to appoint a council representative to the Western Rio Blanco 911 board and an alternate. I don't know if it would work like that, but I'm already on that 911 board for the fire department. So I could dual that unless somebody really wants to be on it, Rich.
Can you, or would it affect the makeup of the board?
I'm not opposed to being on it, Andy. If you'd like for me to sit on that board, I'd be happy to again.
Were you on it? Were you on it prior?
I was on it for the sheriff's office. And so yeah,
Oh,
I've
so
been on
you're-
it before.
You're well versed in it.
Let's go around. Yep, I'd be happy to.
Does anybody else want to be a part of it as an alternate?
I could be an alternate if you'd like.
Sir.
It's up to you.
I can be an alternate.
Okay, sounds good.
Better hope I
Is
don't
everybody
die.
okay with that then?
Yeah.
So Rich will be the main and Mr. Greer will be the Gear will be the alternate. Informational items are, do we need to make a motion on it? Okay.
I'll make a motion to appoint Rich Garner as the representative and Luke as the alternate.
Second.
Motion by Andy, second by Trey. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There's some informational items. Peter, did you want to talk about, I think we can all read the note from Sam. What about the Colorado blueprint? Would you?
Oh, yeah.
A couple of grant awards that Caitlin notified us of. Currently, we are receiving more funds than I think any region in the state right now from Blueprint for the awards that have been sent our direction. So she's to be commended for her effort in that area. You can see some of the previous awards below that we received, but see in particular,
Outdoor rec.
I was looking here, what is it?
Rangeley is outdoor rec.
That's right. Okay, thank you. It looks like community placemaking, Town of Meeker got an award on that, so anyway, Caitlin's been pretty successful with those grants. The other item that's in the packet is that Dr. Bob Dorsett put this thing together for evidence of climate change in the White River Basin. I don't like the use of the term, but I did enjoy looking at some of the graphics that he shows in terms of moisture levels and precipitation in a 30-year period, 85, 95, yeah, almost 40 years. So he's working on the algae control thing, and part of their concern is the scouring in the river bottom is part of the issue with lower precipitation levels upstream. So, and that's why we're experiencing some of the problems, according to some of the experts.
All right. Board vacancies. We still have the RDA, RDC board vacancy.
We have a candidate that's interested in that position.
Okay.
But we got into a discussion about the board number, the number of persons currently appointed to the board. The statute says 13. It's kind of up to interpretation. We had one attorney that felt we could get by with 11. They have some RDA attorneys that feel like we still need to be at 13. We've got a 12-person board right now in one opening, and we do have one person that's interested in making himself available on the board. So we got to sort that out in terms of the size of the board, which the statute says should be 13. That's a big board. And with the changes that happened in 2015, they really kind of muddied the waters for urban renewal authorities. So there's a lot of interpretive things. It's kind of like the passage of retail marijuana and, all the clarification that's needed every year to improve that situation. The same thing's happening with the URAs. It's going to take a while to get it kind of shorted.
Okay.
One opening and one for P&Z.
P&Z. Anybody here? Anybody that wants to be on the planning and zoning yet? Luke? Announcements are noted. Adjournment, unless anybody else has anything, at 7:50.